Okay, so back in Reverie. Today we're going to take apart the galley again, but basically it's really dismounting, not disassembling. So I'm taking the lid off. I'm going to take the cooler out of the box, take the stove off, take the oven off, so I can seal and paint, or seal and prime all of the wood that we just got done putting in. So after doing a bunch of research and trying to figure out what to do, I had a couple of options. One, I could have sealed the wood by using epoxy resin, similar to what you saw me do on the hatches for the V-berth and a couple other places. So that would have put a nice hard coat on all of the wood parts, and it would have sealed it in. Now that said, I'm going to be priming and painting. And in order to do that, I figure it's better if I use whatever the wood sealer is that goes with the type of paint that I'm applying. So I ended up deciding to use the Pettit, pardon me if I didn't French that out enough, EzPrime. And basically this is a one part primer that you can put in. Is a high build, and you can use it for the undercoating if you're painting the top side. So this should dry hard on the surface, which will make it great because galleys take a bunch of beating with pots and pans and knives and all that kind of stuff. So a hard finish is going to be good for that particular area. To make sure that this is going to adhere to the primer and the wood, I went with the EzWood Sealer from Pettit, which basically this applies really thin. You want it to get absorbed by the wood. So I'm going to take everything apart and then literally just roll it onto the wood, let it dry, and then I think I have to reread the instructions, but I don't think I have to sand if I do it within a certain period of time. And I can go ahead and apply the primer. So once I do that, the galley will look really nice, and I'll be able to finish the installation. So a couple things that came up in the last couple days is my push button latch for the door, the pots and pans door. So this came in before I even had a chance to install the little magnet. So even better, I'll do it all in the one shot. And to secure the stove to the box, I found this brackets that have the track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the foot from the stove. I'm going to put these in, put them on, screw the foot back on, and then I can slide it and secure it, and with 2 screws on the side of the box. And that should keep it from moving sideways, upward, backwards, or even if we flip over, it's not going to come off the box. So these are actually galvanized roofing brackets. So normally if you buy these, they sell them by the hundreds. I only need a 4, and I found a place on Amazon that I could just order 4. It took like a couple of weeks to get them, but I got them now, so I can finish the project. Oh, just take it off. Good thing I made this modular. It probably would have helped if I would have disconnected the cables from the cooler. I'm going to take the bottom of the cabinet off so I can also paint down below that countertop and make sure I at least seal everything up really good. Before I get painting, I figure I do a quick switch on the Dometic so I don't forget. Basically what you do to remove the lid, you just lift it and keep pulling it back until you feel it pop, and then bring it forward and it'll come right off. There's no tools required to take the lid itself off. I know it's a little scary, but it's actually pretty straightforward. You just open it, pull it back gently, keep going. When you feel it pop, bring it back forward and lift it, and your lids are off. You have this little plastic covers that are sitting on each side of the bracket. You just use a little flathead screwdriver and you pop them out. I already pop this side out, and you can see there's 4 Phillips screws that we have to take out, and we have to take these 4 screws out to take this bracket and flip it over to that side. For these, you're going to use a number 4 Allen wrench, and you basically just unscrew them from the side. You just keep loosening them up until they'll loosen up. You have a couple little lids here on both sides. You pop those out and you screw the 2 studs back on that side, move the bracket over, and then we're going to snap on the lids back on. And I finished removing it from this side. You can see it has a little bit of blue Loctite, and it's still, we have some, so I'm not going to add any more. I'm just going to literally start screwing it on this side, and then use the Allen wrench to finish it off. All right, so I flip the brackets, and put the screws back in the hole. Now I just put the covers back the way they were, just gently squeeze them in. And the ones for the sides just slide right in, push them in. Other side. And then the 2 for this side. And remember, the little notch goes to the outside, so that way you can put a little screwdriver there when you have to take it off again. All right, so next thing is basically pop the doors back in, and you literally just slide them on top, give them a tap, make sure they're all the way in, and that's it. We're back in business. So I'm going to put the other one in, and I'm going to take advantage and just give this a good wipe, and I'm going to plug it in right here because it's going to take a couple days for everything to dry properly before I can put the fridge back in all the pieces back inside. So I'm going to give it a wipe and connect it right here where it is, maybe shove it a little bit further out of the way, and put all my cool drinks back in here, and I'm back in business. We have everything sanded. Instructions for the EZPrime call for a 220 sand, and you sand until it's nice and smooth, and then wipe it. And I'm supposed to use a tack rag to kind of make sure I pick up all the dust before I put the sealant in. So I'm going to do that, and I need to do a little taping first, kind of along the edge of the fiberglass on this side. I don't care if it gets ugly or dirty or messy down there. Some of the boards home to have more room to work and work faster. So what you see here is the wood, that's raw wood that's sanded, and we apply the EzWood Sealer from Pettit. So it's already, once you open it, start using it, you got to work fast. It starts coagulating or getting solid fairly fast. So the can sat overnight closed, and when I opened it this morning, what I had left to work with, you can see the solids you know, kind of drying up and starting to form a film. So I had to clean that up to use what I had left to finish the wood. The Baltic Birch, since this is kind of a finished wood, I'm not using the sealant. I'm just going to straight paint on it. But this wood, which was very grainy, I had to seal first to make sure it's waterproof, and I make sure I get all the edges in order to get it ready for painting. So I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna run over to Reverie and get painted what I treated yesterday. We applied the EzWood Sealer from Pettit, and it dried really nice. Everything looks outstanding. So next steps is I'm going to get the paint and put the EZPrimer on. So we treated, you know, any surface we had concern that may get water of any kind at any point. This side we didn't treat with the sealer, but we are going to paint. We're going to paint it all the way to the end here and all the way to the end here. So all of this will be white. So will that. And right now at home, everything else is drying. So I'm gonna get cracking on this and see if we can get it all painted pretty fast. So this is a high solids primer. So there is a lot of high solids on the bottom. So you have to make sure that you stir it really well, because this primer is going to do a buildup, which is why it's such a great paint for the galley. It's going to give you a hard surface, and we'll be able to get away with just doing the primer for now, and we can deal with painting the surfaces later. Some surfaces are really not going to have any paint. We're going to tile on the backsplash, so we'll deal with that at a later time. But right now we can kind of get things looking good and protected and get our sailing going. All right, we got our first coat of primer. Got everything we wanted to get it on. We're gonna have to give a second coat to that. But this came out pretty good here. So I'm gonna run home and start priming all the panels that make the galley, and I'll be back. All right, so I'm putting things back together. One thing I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this into a two-part cabinet. So if I ever have to remove the fridge, I can remove this side of the cabinet and be able to get the refrigerator out. I mean, for now, I'm strapping it in, so it's nice and secure on both sides. You can see it on that side. I'm going to strap that, and we should be in great shape here. So remember, I needed to secure the cooktop to the box. So I used those L brackets and basically removed the foots. Use the same screw and the same hole to put the bracket, attach it to the case for the cooktop, and then put a screw to hold it in the box itself. So now is nice and secure. Now I can flip this over and set it in. I still have to add a counterweight here, but I'll do that at another time. Right now I'm just going to lock it in place. But I need a counterweight here because this is really light, just to keep it on center. So it needs a bigger center of gravity than what this system provides, so it needs a counterweight. All right, so I did a little bit of a heat shield on the back against the hull, just to keep things protected back there. And right now I'm only putting it temporarily. I want to make sure I do the right thing, so I'm putting some heat shield on both sides, and that should keep things, you know, the cabinet protected, and heat rises, so it's not going to affect the shelf. But on the back side, I put some, I guess they have the bulb from the fan, so I figure I put a little protection. I may put more and completely cover that on a heat shield, but I'm going to do some testing and then decide. So this is already secure, so I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and plug it in. Okay, our galley is looking good. The primer worked really good. I actually ran out of primer. I just barely had enough to coat all of the surfaces. So I may get some more to do some touch up. I guess I rubbed my foot on that board way on the bottom. But now we have our pots and pans, our oven, our cooktop. Everything is connected. Everything is prime. All right, if you recall, on the fridge, we flip the lid over so we can have the refrigerator on this side. See it right there. And the reason we put it on this side is because we can get to the bottom of the fridge, no problem, even if we don't open the lid all the way. On the freezer side, there's a basket. So you have to remove the basket in order to get to the bottom of the freezer, to the second basket. So in order to do that, I need to be able to open the lid a lot more. So we're going to design a countertop that's split. And what that's going to allow us to do is, have a seam here, and we'll be able to open this side completely and get to the freezer. So at some point, this will become fixed back here on the counter. And then from there, we'll have the hinge will allow this to open more and allow the freezer to open more so we can take the basket out. And I'll have pistons helping with that. And this side, it'll be a piston just to open it up, from here, so we can get to the fridge a little bit more comfortable. So that's, part of the future design on the galley. But for now, it works, it's functional for our kind of short-term cruising we're going to start doing. It'll work perfectly. I'm going to tuck those wires back up, get them out of the way, and put our EVA foam against the hull, and we can start building the cabinets in here. And like I said, I'm going to split this board so this cabinet is somewhat removable. So if I ever have a problem with the fridge and I have to take it out, I could disassemble this cabinet easily and get the fridge completely out. All right, gang, that's it for this episode. Kind of a quickie one. 2-day project. I wanted to do a short one, get all of our wood on the galley primed and sealed. And we used the Pettit products. They work really well. The sealant is very, very liquidy, I guess. This consistency is very light, so it's really easy to brush in. So I use the brush, basically sealing all of the wood, and then I use the roller to basically put on the prime. I barely had enough prime to get through the project with the 1 quart. So probably could have used a little bit more to touch up a few things here and there. I'll probably get another little bit to touch up a few places where I stuck my foot, but that's for another episode. For now, we're done with this one. Galley's ready to go. The stove is secure. The lid for the pots and pans has the magnet for now, so we're going to take some trips over to St. Pete over the next couple weeks and start kind of enjoying the boat and having a good time with it. And the rest of this stuff we'll just keep doing as we go. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please click on the link below. Any questions, feel free to post them on the channel. We'll be happy to answer. We're sharing everything we're doing with Reverie just to help everybody out. Trying to answer the questions that I couldn't find answers for when I was trying to do my project. So hopefully this will help you in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next episode.